Something changed when this picture, called Earthrise, was beamed back to Earth by the astronauts of the Apollo 8 voyage in December of 1968. The phenomenon has been called the overview effect, a cognitive shift in awareness reported by some astronauts and cosmonauts during spaceflight, often while viewing the Earth from orbit or from the lunar surface. So says Wikipedia. Wikipedia quotes author Ian O'Neill saying that, quote, the overview effect refers to the experience of seeing firsthand the reality of Earth in space, which is immediately understood to be a tiny, fragile ball of life hanging in the void, shielded and nourished by a paper-thin atmosphere. From space, the author says, national boundaries vanish, the conflicts that divide people become less important, and the need to create a planetary society with the united will to protect this pale blue dot becomes both obvious and imperative, end quote. Earthrise also changed the way most of us speak of the Earth. Seeing our home against the blackness of space from the bleakness of the moon's surface, we, the public, have come to finally accept what great minds on Earth have been telling us for a long time, to think of our planet as a spaceship, which indeed is what it is, a life support vessel that carries us around the sun every year and around the galaxy every 225 to 250 million Earth years. 3 years before the Earthrise picture was taken in 1965, Adlai Stevenson wrote a famous speech to the UN in which he said, "We travel together, passengers on a little spaceship, dependent on its vulnerable reserves of air and soil, all committed for our safety to its security and peace, preserved from annihilation only by the care, the work, and I will say the love we give our fragile craft. We cannot maintain it, half fortunate, half miserable, half confident, half despairing, half slave. To the ancient enemies of man, half free in a liberation of resources undreamed of until this day. No craft, no crew can safely travel with such vast contradictions. On their resolution depends the survival of us all." Now, when we consider our world as a spaceship, which of course it truly is, how on earth can we think of waste? Viewed from space, looking at this little gravity well we call our home, where is the away to throw things? What goes up must come down, and the energetics of blasting garbage into space isn't the only problem. Viewed as a self-contained biosphere where almost nothing gets in except for sunlight and the occasional meteor, and nothing leaves for long except the Voyager deep spacecraft and a couple of Mars and Venus and other planetary probes, the very idea of throwing things away seems absurd. If we threw things into the vacuum of the universe or sent them into the furnace of the sun, then yes, indeed, we truly would have a problem, Houston. Talk about running out of resources. But here they all are. Every element we ever pulled out of the ground or of the forest or out of the mountains and the cliffs and the seas, still here on this fragile little ball in the middle of nothing. If we have a problem, it is simply that we haven't recycled them properly. Are we running out of water? No. There it all is, still on the surface of that pale blue dot. Are we running out of oil? No. It's just temporarily been turned black into carbon dioxide, waiting for a time when living ecosystems and planetary forces can turn the gas back into oil again and safely sequester the carbon we released through the silly act of unmitigated combustion. Of course, we and the majority of the life forms on this fragile spaceship may well go extinct in the meantime, and that, of course, is the big problem. In this module, however, we take a hopeful look at the spaceship Earth through the lens of biospherics, the study of how perpetual living spacecraft can be made to function indefinitely. We explore the work of economist Kenneth Boulding, who wrote a seminal essay back in 1966 called The Economics of the Coming Spaceship Earth, in which he described, quote, the past open economy of apparently illimitable resources, which he said he was tempted to call the cowboy economy, and continued, quote, the closed economy of the future might similarly be called the spaceman economy, in which the Earth has become a single spaceship without unlimited reservoirs of anything, either for extraction or for pollution, and in which, therefore, man must find his place in a cyclical ecological system, end quote. We will explore in this module the work of Buckminster Fuller, who published a book in 1968 under the title Operating Manual for Spaceship Earth, with this quotation referring to fossil fuels, saying, quote, We can make all of humanity successful through science's world-engulfing industrial evolution, provided that we are not so foolish as to continue to exhaust in a split second of astronomical history the orderly energy savings of billions of years' energy conservation aboard our spaceship Earth. These energy savings have been put into our spaceship's life regeneration guaranteeing bank account for use only in self-starter functions, end quote. We'll explain that in this module, and we'll look at the more recent attempts to recreate Spaceship Earth in miniature through the Biosphere 2 program and the Biosphere 3 and other spin-off projects where each of us gets to participate in the spaceman economy right here on Earth. Ready, set, blast off!